Jeff says, who gets the blame of this team gets bounced before they get a rematch in the playoffs with the Bucks? Well, if they lose to Toronto, I don't know if anybody gets blame. I just don't think they're good enough.
No, well, I will tell you this: they got to get a different coach.
Well,
they have to.
That's going to be a conversation.
They'd have to. You can't tell me that you're going to have a roster that is as loaded as this with, maybe Butler doesn't come back, maybe Tobias Harris doesn't come back, but one of them will come back. And you're going to have that roster, and you can't get past Toronto or Boston in the playoffs, you got to go. I don't care how nice you are. I don't care how cool your accent is. I love the guy too. But if that doesn't happen, he's got to go.
What was
the result-oriented business, Eitan?
You're right.
And he has to go if they can't get past the second round.
Even if they lose to a team who gets who gets 3 games or 2 games on the Warriors in the finals, that doesn't change your opinion?
No, it doesn't matter.
But hold on. Here's the thing. Like, I'm not saying Brett Brown doesn't deserve to be fired. I was watching the replay of Simmons fouling Giannis. Sorry. I'm not saying that Brett Brown doesn't deserve to get fired, but what I'm saying is I don't necessarily know if that's the right criteria or if I agree with that criteria. If they lose to Toronto, Toronto's just better than them, Harry. Like, I don't know if Flip Saunders or if Greg Popovich or if anybody else in the NBA could come in and beat Toronto with this team that Brett Brown couldn't.
Bro, you got Tobias Harris. You got Jimmy Butler. You got Joel Embiid, and you got Ben Simmons. Figure it out. If you can't get past the second round in the East with that lineup, I'm sorry. You got to go. I don't give a shit how cool you are, how nice of a white beard you have, and how cool of an accent you have. You got to go. I don't care. You're out. You're out.
That's the wrong team to hold him accountable against.
What do you mean?
Boston last year was the right team because they're not good enough.
Dude, what do you mean they're not good enough? The general manager went out and made moves this year to get an all-star team in here, and you can't beat Toronto. You're out. You can't beat Boston. You're out.
That general manager is going to win GM of the year. What are you talking about? Yuri, whatever. He's going to win manager GM of the year.
I don't care about manager GM of the year.
No, but my point of it is you can't
has to go.
Brand made moves.
There's other coaches. Go get another coach.
I'm not going to say that.
There's a million of them.
Well, what makes you think that any of those guys are going to be better than Brett Brown?
I don't know. But all I know is at that point, if this happens where they get eliminated in the second round to one of these teams, like Toronto or Boston or one of these teams, he's got to go.
No, that's different.
If I was the owner, he's gone.
You can't say Toronto and Boston in the same sentence. It's not. No, Boston is not
because they haven't beaten them yet. Name me the last time they beat Toronto. They beat Toronto once in the last 14 times.
Because Toronto's a better team than them. Boston is not a better team than them. They just beat them. I'll give you that. If they lose to Boston, then fire Brett Brown. Are you happy? I'll agree to that.
Oh, my God.
You can't fire Brett Brown just because he loses to Toronto. If he loses to any other team in the Eastern Conference, I'll fire him. But if it's Toronto, I'm not going to do it.
Why? Because Kawhi Leonard is on the team?
Well, first off, Kawhi Leonard, Danny Green, Marc Gasol have made that team all better. They're much better defensively.
Marc Gasol is a relic.
That's not true.
He's a relic.
That's not true. They're playing shifts at center. He's not asked to play 35 minutes a night, and he's a defensive presence.
Well, that's because they have depth.
Yeah,
they're a 10-man
depth, but they've gotten better this year. So Toronto is head and shoulders better than the Sixers team this year. Wow. I'm not going to say that about any other team for the Sixers.
I will tell you this. If the Sixers don't get out of the second round, I don't give a shit who they lose to. They got to get a different coach.
Well, we disagree on that.